And I've been admonished to remind people that you had your merger close, I guess, just on April 3rd. So year-over-year doesn't quite work. You're sort of a new company in a sense.
Yeah, it's a little confusing when you look at the pro forma numbers. But yeah, it's April 3rd. We closed on the merger. The same day we spun off Carrier and Otis as standalone public companies. So it was a big year for us, but we got a lot done.
So explain exactly what you did get done and how you did it.
Well, look, when the merger closed last April, we were in the middle, of course, of the lockdown across the country, and we were very fortunate. We moved to a remote work environment. We've got about 190,000 people, and over 100,000 people who were working remote at the day of the merger close. So the team got after it, and I think importantly, back in April and May, as we looked at what was happening and the length of the downturn in commercial aero, we knew we had to take some pretty dramatic actions. And so we identified about $4 billion in cash actions that we could take. We took a look at around $2 billion of cost actions that we could take in 2020. And good news is we hit all of those targets. We were able to take out $2 billion of cash. About half of that, unfortunately, had to come from the people side of the business. That was furloughs, that was layoffs, that was pay cuts, all those really hard things to do. We also reduced our discretionary spend and our engineering and development spend. And at the end of the year, I think the most important thing is the cash. We thought we were going to get about a $4 billion tailwind. We got about $4.7 billion. And so we were able to end the year with around $9 billion of cash on the balance sheet. Very, very strong liquidity position, and really positioned us, the business, for the recovery that we think will happen later this year in commercial aero. Tough year last year. I think decremental margins, as you can imagine, when you're losing commercial aftermarket, which is where most of your money is made, and we saw decremental margins of north of 50%. We believe as the aftermarket comes back, we're going to see incremental margins of north of 80% because of all the costs we've taken out. So a lot of hard work, a lot of very tough decisions that the team had to make, but proud of the way they came through it. And I think today the business is uniquely positioned for a recovery, which will happen. I can't tell you what day, but it will happen.
Well, let's talk about the recovery for a second. I mean, for our audience, to make sure everyone understands, Pratt & Whitney is part of your company, and that is commercial aerospace, a lot of jet engines being made. And as you say, you make a lot of the money, actually, on the aftermarket. That is, as I understand it, the maintenance and the parts afterwards. When you're not flying on airplanes, you don't need all that stuff. Are you prepared for a real snapback? What if it comes back faster than you think? Given the cost cuts you've made, could you be caught out a little bit and not having the capacity to address that?
So I think, even as we think about a recovery this year, and maybe just to put it in perspective, so for the year, we think our commercial domestic traffic is probably going to be up about 36%, but that's still down about 35% from 2019 load. So as an example, one of the engines that Pratt & Whitney makes is called the V2500. It powers A320 Airbus aircraft. We typically see about 1,000 of those engines come in every year for a shop visit for repair. Last year, that was about 500. This year, again, we'll see a recovery in that, but nowhere near back to the 1,000. So we've retained the capacity for the recovery, but we have taken out all of the, I would say, the folks that we need to keep the operation lean. But I don't have any concern about a resurgence. I think everybody has tried to be cautious about how much they take out and not to cut into the bone because, people want to travel. They will travel again. It will take some time, but we are confident we're going to see a recovery this year, not back to where it was in 19. It'll take several years, but confident in our approach in terms of the cost takeout.
What are you anticipating and therefore planning for with respect to military spending?
So interestingly, we ended the year with roughly $67 billion in backlog. And as we think about how that will play out in 21 and 22, probably going to see organic growth of around 3 to 5%. And I say that very carefully because as part of the merger last year, we had to divest a couple of our military businesses. So the actual reported number looks a little funky, but I think about 3 to 5% organically this year and next on what is essentially a flat defense budget. And I think that's probably about as good as you can do it in this marketplace. And again, there's certain areas where Raytheon Technologies has a real advantage. Obviously, sensing or radars, which is the heritage of Raytheon, but also in the space sensing business and space communications business and ground traffic control. So a lot of pieces of the puzzle within Raytheon Technologies, but I think we're pretty well aligned with what the emerging technologies are needed for the Department of Defense.
What do you anticipate the long-term changes in Raytheon's business will be from the pandemic? And I'll give you a possible example, which is how much commercial office space you need. I saw a report that maybe you're going to be having less now because you've discovered people can work from home. Do you see longer-term changes in the way you do business?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, David. And as when we first started this last, I guess, end of March, when people started working from home, I was anxious to have everybody get back to the office as soon as possible. But having been able to successfully run the company for the last 9-10 months now remotely and see the advantages of having a remote workforce, I think it gives us incredible flexibility in terms of hiring the right people without having to pull up stakes and move folks around. So as we think about it, we've got 32 million square feet of office space. What I've challenged the team is to find a way to reduce 25% of that. Now, you're never going to get rid of all of it, obviously, but as I think about it, we'll probably have three different types of folks. There'll be those that come to the office every day, come to the factory floor every day, and that'll perhaps be a third of the workforce. There'll be a third of the workforce that will permanently be working remotely, and another third that'll probably be, I would call a hybrid. That is, they'll come into the office 1 or 2 days a week for team meetings and training, and the rest of the time work remotely. And we're going to be reconfiguring office space. We're going to start with our Pratt & Whitney business this year to model how that's going to work. We call it the Office of the Future project, but I think, again, if you can take out 8 million square feet of office space, there's a tremendous amount of savings, not counting the savings that you have in terms of the efficiency of folks working remotely as opposed to commuting in every single day to the office.
So one more question. You've just gotten your company put together as of April 3rd, and maybe it's a little too early for you, but where are you going to grow? Whether organically or inorganically, through acquisition or internally? Where's your growth opportunity?
Well, unfortunately, 2020 was not a growth year. In fact, we lost about $13 billion of revenue, if you can imagine, on the commercial side of the business with the downturn. So we see obviously big growth coming on this year and next as the recovery occurs in commercial air. We're probably going to see, after we get past the first quarter, when we get to some easier comparisons, we'll probably see 10% growth organically in the back half of the year, and that'll continue into next year. But as we think about where we're investing, we're really looking at opportunities to take and leverage the technology from the legacy Raytheon business and the legacy UTC businesses to provide some unique solutions. And I'll give you just one example. The air traffic control system in this country needs to be upgraded. Today we provide the radars, we provide the ground processing through our Rockwell Collins business. We provide the comm systems from the airplanes down to the ground control stations. We think we can provide a unique solution to the FAA to streamline that whole gamut of technologies and really provide a super vehicle for us to grow our business in the next several years. So there's many things like that, whether it's hypersonics with some high temperature materials, whether it's assured communications on the battlefield, or whether it's connectivity with the ground from air traffic control. There's a lot of things we can do, but I think we're uniquely positioned to be growing in what is probably going to be a pretty flat defense market for the next couple of years.